was asked before the Cowboys preseason game yesterday about his all-pro wide receiver, and believe it or not, he said, you know what, I will talk to the media and let me give you my thoughts. Okay, so I think what he was saying there at the end is you're missed, but we wouldn't be playing you in this specific game anyway. So tonight you're not missed, but holistically you are missed. I think that's the Jerry translation. By the way, what? Go ahead.
I think it's more like, hey, you're missed, but not missed enough to pay you the amount of money that you wanted to get paid. We don't miss you that much.
Coach Mangini, obviously here. Greg Jennings here. Wilds be back tomorrow. Greg, start with you. Whose side are you on in this right now, Jerry or CeeDee's?
I'm with CeeDee Lamb. Like, there comes a point in time, like, you have kids, Coach, you have kids, I have kids. We all have been a kid, and we've all heard this. Actions speak louder than words. Like, you can tell me, there's only so many times I can say, oh, Nick, I'll show up, I'll be there, I'll be there. But if I never come,
correct. Yeah.
Eventually you're not going to ask me any longer. You're not going to even want me to come because it's like my actions have shown I'm not reliable.
It's a weird example for a guy who skipped my wedding to make
it. Is
sure.
a little bit. But I didn't tell you I was coming. And I happened to be there in the city.
I mean, he happened to be in Kansas City during my wedding. Just had something else going on. But I understand your point. I got it. Go ahead.
Like for me, when you continue to talk about how much you appreciate a guy and how much he values CeeDee Lamb and what he means to this offense, and then you don't line that up and pair that with saying, okay, you know what, we're going to pay you because I know how valuable you are. I know how much I appreciate you. And mind you, this is the owner who controls this. Like, he can pay.
It's not like it's a GM who has to say one thing but knows the owner won't give him the money.
This is the person that CeeDee's listening to saying all this stuff, and he's like, you keep telling me this. But the only thing that I will respond to right now is the dollar signs that you end up telling me match what the value is that you're telling me also that you can appreciate out of me. So for me, I'm all about CeeDee Lamb on this one, and he's deserving of it. With what he was able to do this year, what he is in the National Football League as far as his rankings in terms of where he fits in that wide receiver list of hierarchy, he's right up there deserving of a big payday.
Yeah, and I'm with Greg on this. I know you're going to be surprised by that, Nick, but I do think there's something to the don't tell me you love me, show me you love me, okay? And the fifth-year option was designed to give the team the ability, if you draft a guy in the first round, to have the rights to him for that extra year at a wage that's supposed to be comparable to what his peers are getting. But the reality is not many players in general play out that fifth year in the fifth-year option. And the other fifth-year option receiver right now is Brandon Ayuk, and we know what's going on with him. So from a league perspective, it's not realistic because guys aren't getting that fifth year as first-rounders. So that's one precedent. That's the league precedent. And then from the Cowboys precedent, after Dak's third year, he held out. Okay, so he holds out after his third year and gets the biggest contract ever for a running back. So
Zeke did.
Not Dak,
yes.
Zeke.
Yeah.
He gets the biggest contract ever. So from a Dallas Cowboys precedent, they've established that they're willing to pay guys earlier. So now with CeeDee, he's actually played through the full 4 years, a year further than Zeke played out, and he wants to get paid. So there's a league precedent and there's a Cowboys precedent that both say those guys should get paid. So I get where CeeDee's coming from.
This is one of the most baffling contract disputes I can remember. Almost any other one of these, there has been a part of me where I'm like, okay, I kind of get why there is a conflict here. I'll just stick with wide receivers for a minute. T. Higgins in Cincinnati. I totally understand what's going on there. What's going on there is they're like, man, we paid Joe. We're going to have to pay Jamar.
Yep.
Can we have the three highest paid guys on our team be quarterback, wide receiver? Probably not, and so we can't do it. All right, got it. Brandon Ayuk situation. It seems like the Niners valued him at a number. The market then exploded. They're like, we're already paying Debo. We've already invested this much in a running back, a tight end, left tackle. We can't go higher. And I think also we think you're a really good player, but not a number one at your position like CeeDee might be. And so that one at least I understand to a degree. This one I don't get at all. It is a player that is coming off his best season of his career. That's similar to Ayuk. But at a position where you have no one else. Like, if we put last year's numbers for CeeDee Lamb against everyone else currently on the Cowboys, combined into one super player, they're worse than CeeDee Lamb. Measurably worse across the board, except for total touchdowns, where they're even. That's 7 dudes.
Yeah.
And so I don't think CeeDee Lamb is the best receiver in the league. I do think he might be the most indispensable skill position player in the league, given the context of his team.
Yep.
So,
Well, to add to that context, when the other group is producing at that level, which isn't very impressive, it's taking no pressure off of CD.
Correct.
So everybody then is paying that's that level of production, with him being the only person you really have to stop.
Yep.
So, which makes it even more significant in terms of what his contribution.
Okay. I really think what's happening, and I don't say this lightly, because I think we kind of say this, we kind of use this too loosely about people. They're crazy, they're dumb, they're this, they're that. You know, we're just kind of fast and loose with those types of statements. But listening to Jerry Jones talk more and more, like, he's clearly not firing at all cylinders at this point, right? He is a legitimate old man, but he still has all the power, and he still is the boss. So you have everyone around him kind of having to deal with it. Because it is, I don't understand what the Cowboys are trying to do. Do they just not want to pay Dak, CD, and Mike? Like, you got to pay someone. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I wonder, because they said, oh, well, they paid Zeke before, and technically that was a bad deal for the Cowboys. Like, it did not work out for the Cowboys. Zeke did not age well, the contract didn't age well, and it was just not successful. So I don't know if he's now trying to make up for that in a way, or doesn't want to repeat any type of mistakes, but you gotta pay someone, right? Like, so I'm struggling to see, kind of like what Nick was saying, how we can conceptually understand what's going on with Brandon Ayuk and T. Higgins. Like, I get it. I do get it as well. It all makes sense. Saquon, whatever it may be. But it doesn't make sense here in this regard with what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. Because are they going to move on from CD? I mean, is CD asking for something next level? Like $5 million more than than whoever was most recently paid. I think it's Tyreek Hill now. Is Tyreek Hill the highest paid? Honestly, I don't even know, because it just keeps changing. Tyreek Hill or Jefferson, I assume. And, if he's asking for money in that range, I can see how the numbers are just getting higher and higher. And I can see it being uncomfortable for someone who's been in the league like Jerry Jones for so long. And so to me, I can imagine these numbers are just starting to maybe like make him uncomfortable. But again, you're going to have to pay someone. So I don't understand what the plan is, because if he's not going to be able to convince Dak, CD, and Micah to all take a pay cut of some sort, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. And if he's going to move on from one of them, how are they not making these choices then already? They have to know who they want with them. They're trying to make all three of these guys work, seemingly, but by doing so, they're doing nothing. And in a way, what it kind of feels like is they're trying to date 3 women at the same time. But like, it's not that they love all 3 of them. They're like, she's really smart, but she's not that funny. The other one's like really funny, but like not that smart. The other one is super beautiful, but she's like kind of mean and kind of a jerk. And it's like, I don't know what to do with this, because I don't think they actually know. And this sounds like so absurd, because Jerry Jones keeps saying the same things about all these players, about Micah, about CD, about Dak, about Zeke. No one loves so-and-so more than I do. And he keeps saying those types of comments. you're missed, but you're not missed, and you're missed, and you're missed, and you're not missed, and we're going all in, and we're going all in on the players that we have, and we're going all in on the draft, and we're going all in on next season. Like, it's just, it's a mess. There's no other way to look at it. It's just an absolute fundamental mess in Dallas right now. I don't see how any Dallas Cowboys fan can feel good about this. Seriously. Because at the very minimum, this is so bad just for developing your team this offseason, for just the camaraderie, for just the connection, for the locker room. Because you're going to have a lot of players, a lot of coaches, like, they don't know what's going on. They don't know, is CeeDee Lamb going to be here or is he not? Is Dak? Like, what's happening? Micah? You have to get everyone to buy in. If you're going to win as a football team, I really don't know. Maybe you guys do, but I don't really know a team that was able to legitimately win where they all didn't buy in. Where you found out they all just hated each other. They hated the coach. They hated the owner. They hated the GM. They hated the quarterback. The quarterback hated the wide receiver. Like, it just doesn't work that way. You need everyone to buy in. And that's why really the great quarterbacks of the past and even the current, they tend to be great unifiers. Same thing as well as coaches. And even some owners. Depending on the franchise, you can see certain teams absolutely love their ownership and treat them with just nothing but pure respect. Not all teams have that. And it matters. It's a culture, right? Like we also use the word culture kind of too loosely. It's like, oh, what's the culture? What's the culture? And I'm not going to go as far as to say that Dallas has a bad culture. I'm not. But it's definitely just not good right now. It's definitely rocky, and it's inconsistent. To me, that's the problem. It's inconsistent. And quite frankly, it's easier to prepare. If your household, your parents, when you're growing up, it almost is easier to navigate if you know that they're always angry or always happy. But it's when they're happy or angry at any given moment, when you grow up in a really dysfunctional household, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect. And at any moment when things feel like it's okay, bam, it could just snap out of place. That's the horrifying thing. That's a jump scare. That's what horror movies rely on. The jump scares. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. I'm walking. And then it's boom, right? It's a flash in your face, a screeching sound. That's what the Dallas Cowboys are doing at this point. You just don't know what to expect, what you're going to get, what you're going to hear. And it is brutal to win and run a franchise like that. So I too, like Nick, just like struggle to make sense because I can't see what is the process here. Are you going to move on from CeeDee Lamb legitimately? Like, is that what you're going to do? You're going to move on from CeeDee Lamb? Because then who's your wide receiver? Let's say you want to pay Dak a boatload of money. Like, who is he throwing to? And if you move on from Dak, you need a wide receiver like a CeeDee Lamb so you can bring in a quarterback. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I genuinely can't wrap my head around it. So it's just sloppy, man. Super sloppy. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? I guess whose side are you on? Jerry Jones or CeeDee Lamb? And I can't imagine many people are going to say Jerry Jones. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.